Wes Rowland coming to you from the Cruise Experts office in Central California. I'd like to welcome our guests from all across the U.S. and Canada for a tremendous webinar this afternoon and this evening that will be fun and educational. It's really a privilege to have with us today Mr. Hy Cooper, who is a longtime veteran and has a tremendous passion and enthusiasm for American river cruising. And so I'm going to turn it right over to Hy Cooper, who is going to share a lot of great fun things with you, educate you, inform you, and let you know what's going on with the American Queen Steamboat Company. At the end of the presentation, we'll have time for questions, and this is about you this afternoon, so fasten your seatbelt. Let's get ready to roll. Hy, over to you.
Thanks very much, Wes, and thanks to all of you, wherever you are out there in the country, for participating in our webinar today. I'm Hy Cooper, Western Regional Vice President of Sales, American Queen Steamboat Company.
J-A-L-C-R.
American Queen Steamboat Company. Travel is glorious once more on our uniquely American river cruises. On the American Queen on the Mississippi River system and the American Empress on the Columbia and Snake Rivers in the Pacific Northwest. Some of you might remember from, maybe it was second or probably third grade, the man on the screen. His name is Robert Fulton. And what did he do? Well, he did a lot of things. He was an artist, he was an inventor, he was an entrepreneur, a businessman, great mechanic. But what he did was he invented the first commercially successful steamboat. Remember Fulton's Folly, the Clermont? That's what you see on the screen. And in 1807, he sailed 150 miles up the Hudson River in 32 hours from New York City to Albany. He proved beyond any doubt that steam was a very effective means of transportation. Prior to that, prior to the Clermont, prior to Mr. Fulton, it was foot power, horsepower, or wind power. If you wanted to get from the East Coast to the West Coast, you went on a square rigger around Cape Horn. Wind power or horsepower and a covered wagon or a stagecoach, or you walked across the Great Plains from east to west. So the steamboat became the first mechanical means of transportation. And if you don't remember anything else today, I really want you to remember that. The American Queen, our flag boat, if you will, is the largest, most luxurious steamboat ever built exclusively for cruising on inland rivers. It holds 432 guests in elegant comfort, and it has 6 decks, 2 large elevators. It's 418 feet long and 90 feet wide. And most people see the American Queen, they think, wow, I didn't expect it to be so big. Well, it's the largest steamboat ever built exclusively for cruising on inland rivers, okay, the American Queen. And it travels on about 2,000 miles of the Mississippi River. What makes us so special, what makes us so unique, well, there are a lot of things, but we've become all-inclusive. Every single one of our cruises includes a deluxe hotel stay before your voyage, including full American breakfast, taxes, porterage, transfers to the vessel. You check in for the cruise at the hotel. You get your cruise documents and you have your picture taken at the hotel. You can meet with the tour people and the maitre d' at the hotel. We transfer your bags over before you get over. So they're waiting in your cabin when you check into the cabin, and you're ready to put away your stuff and explore the vessel. We have complimentary hop-on, hop-off shore excursions in every port. We have bottled water, soft drinks, fancy coffees, just like Starbucks, and beer and wine with dinner complimentary. Different beers, different wines, craft beers, really good wines throughout the voyage. We have alternate dining on both our vessels, both the American Queen and the American Empress on the Columbia River. We have an all-American crew where country club casual, no formal wear is required. I never take a coat and tie anymore. I used to. Just an open neck shirt, a polo shirt, a long sleeve shirt. Country club casual really means long pants and a collared shirt, I guess, for dinner. And if you don't want to wear that, you can go to our alternate dining venue, which is totally casual. We have a full range of day and evening activities. We have wonderful entertainment worthy of Las Vegas or Broadway with great reviews, 18 separate themes, a 6-piece orchestra, and much, much more, and our own dedicated fleet of luxury coaches. I call them steam coaches. Great dining, regional menus, alternate dining, room service 24 hours a day, snacks available anytime. On the American Queen, this is our dining room, the J.M. White dining room, named after a famous 19th century steamboat, the J.M. White. It is large, it's elegant, it's comfortable on the sides, the ceiling, the deckhead as it's called, 20 feet tall and 12 feet in the middle. That's the captain's table in front of the wine wall in the top picture. This is our alternate dining venue on the American Queen, the Front Porch Cafe. I call it the Front Porch of America because we're traveling through the heartland of America on America's great inland rivers. So to me, it's the Front Porch of America, and it goes 24 hours a day, and you can dine inside or outside, and it's not as it was back in the old days with the predecessor company. It's not hot dogs and soft serve ice cream. It's everything. It's lamb and prime rib, and in the morning cooked to order omelets, and you name it, we have it or we'll get it. Our crew really does backflips to satisfy you. The food is wonderful. There's always a choice of beef, poultry, fish, veggie. Every kind of special diet that I'm aware of can be accommodated if you'll tell the booking agent at Cruise Experts if you have a particular food allergy, and they'll let us know. Everybody's hot button right now seems to be gluten-free. I think I'm just the opposite, carb-loaded. I think I love gluten. We have lots and lots of rockers. And if it's windy and no one's sitting in one, you'll see it rocking, kind of a ghost rocker. But you don't have to stake out a rocker. There are plenty of them. I don't know of anybody that's ever had to wait to get one. It's not like the deck chairs or the chase lounges on the ships. There are 3 reasons why you're going to love our river cruises: scenery, history, and lack of motion. We are not out of sight of land out in the middle of the ocean, coming to an occasional port so that on the sea days you're looking out at whitecaps and the horizon. We're on America's rivers, the Mississippi and the Columbia River. And so people go for scenery. We have scenery on both sides of the boats every day of the trip. They go for history, where Mark Twain, the South, the Civil War, Lewis and Clark on the Columbia River, all the historic river towns and cities of America. And if you're not seasick at home listening to my webinar, you sure as heck won't get seasick on my riverboats, because there is absolutely no motion. Scenery, history, and lack of motion. Every night is a pure delight. You have to make choices. There's 2 or 3 entertainment things going on at the same time. Could be entertainment on deck in the summertime. There's lounge entertainment. There's main showroom entertainment. Wonderful entertainment with highly talented performers. No smoke and mirrors, no lip syncing, no pre-recorded anything. The young men and women in our reviews are talented, and they're just singing their hearts out. 50s, 60s, Elvis, country, bluegrass. As you board the American Queen, the larger vessel that's on the Mississippi River, very often you'll walk through the Mark Twain Gallery. If you don't walk through it on boarding, you're going to spend a lot of time here. We have the largest collection of Tiffany glass in one location in America on the American Queen. And as you proceed through the Mark Twain Gallery, you get to the center of the vessel, the grand staircase, and please note the polished brass, the wrought iron, the carved wood, the painted ceiling, the antique chandelier. It's something really, really special. And as you go aft from, when you're at the bottom of that grand staircase, you're in our showroom, the Grand Saloon of the American Queen. The most beautiful showroom on the rivers and oceans of the world. And I don't say that lightly. It is really amazing. It's loosely patterned after Ford's Theater in Washington with a proscenium arch over the stage, a large dance floor, hanging boxes, a balcony. But I can't emphasize the dance floor. If you're dancers, you'll have an opportunity to dance every day of your trip. And if you're a member of a dance club, take a dance club. Put a dance club together and run it through West Roland at Cruise Experts in Visalia. They do lots of groups with American Queen Steamboat Company. Family entertainment, great fun entertainment. 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. We've got it all, and sometimes a mixture of all of it in one show. And when I say family entertainment, it's good for parents, grandparents to do multi-generational family groups. Great opportunity. Everyone from the kids to grandma and grandpa, and I'm in the grandma and grandpa category, will love our entertainment. We also have free Wi-Fi. Everyone has some sort of device. You're all connected. You're all on this webinar, and you may take a device with you, be it a smartphone or an iPad or something, and we have free Wi-Fi throughout the boat. So we're not nickel and diming you. I paid a lot of money on ocean cruises for the Wi-Fi that they charge for. On the river, on the move. If you're more athletically inclined, we have bicycles, 6 of them available free on a first-come, first-served basis. We have helmets on both our vessels. On the American Queen, we have a small pool and gym with treadmills and a static bike. We have our basic shore excursions included in each port. And we keep getting, I have to change this slide, #1 cruise industry shore program by the World Ocean and Cruise Liner Society. The Calliope on the American Queen, not on the American Empress. We have the world's largest and loudest steam calliope. You can hear it 5 miles away on a windless day, and it's traditional for the Calliopes to play on entering and leaving a port to announce the boat's arrival and departure. And if you're going through locks and they're in or near a town, the whole town turns out on the upper Mississippi. We also have our own buses. I call them steam coaches. We have 4 of them that shadow the American Queen, and we have 3 that go with the American Empress. The American Empress is quite a bit smaller than the American Queen. We also, if anyone is, or someone that you know might be challenged in any way, I've never known anybody not to be able to go. 2 large elevators on both boats, wide hallways, easy access to all the public rooms, and even the buses, when they come to a stop and the driver opens the door, they kneel or squat or they go down anyway. And in the back, where you see that louver, it's really camouflage. We have a wheelchair and scooter lift where the scooter can be lifted up right into the bus. My wife has started having knee problems recently, and she doesn't need a wheelchair, but she likes the fact that the buses, we were just on the Columbia River, will lower and make it easy to board. The American Queen operates on the Mississippi, the Ohio, the Tennessee, and the Cumberland rivers. Every port city the part being where you can begin or end a cruise, is designated by that red circle. New Orleans, Memphis, St. Louis, and St. Paul on the Mississippi, Louisville, Cincinnati, Nashville, Chattanooga, other ports. Louisville doesn't have the circle, but our main cruises, the greatest number of cruises are on the Mississippi, and our most popular itinerary is this. You're looking at it. Memphis to New Orleans or New Orleans to Memphis. That's a 7-night cruise, but remember, you go the day before. So if you're sailing on a Sunday, the travel day getting there is Saturday, and you'll get the free hotel night prior to the cruise on the front end. Then you get the hotel in either Memphis or New Orleans, depending which direction you're going, and you're off and running, ready to rock and roll and have a wonderful time. And we have the most cruises on this stretch because it is kind of everybody's first cruise, and it's extremely, extremely popular. You can start out in Memphis and do the pre-cruise city tour that does Graceland, and that's optional. It's like $79 or $73 and worth every penny. And Beale Street and Studio Sun Records, where Elvis got his start. But everybody loves Graceland, and then we take you to the boat, and so on. And so you can start in Memphis, go to New Orleans, or the reverse. Now, here's a man who is strongly associated with river cruising and, the great steamboat era. Mark Twain, who was born in 1835. He got his steamboat pilot's license in 1859 at the age of 24 to pilot paddle wheel steamboats from St. Louis to New Orleans. 1,000 river miles in those days. They straightened out the river a little bit since then. And of course, as having been from Hannibal when we're on the upper Mississippi, we have Mark Twain tribute artists. We have Mark Twain themed cruises. You can learn all about Tom Sawyer and Huck Finn and Becky Thatcher, and they're all alive and well in Hannibal, Missouri, one of the most popular stops on the upper Mississippi. Mark Twain said, "A steamboat is like a wedding cake, but without the complications." He said, "When man can travel 700 miles an hour," he went up in the voice, he said, "when man can travel 700 miles an hour, he'll want to go 7 again." And that's, of course, the experience that we'll provide for you on our wonderful cruises. We have 18 solid and separate and meaningful themes and with great content in 2016. You can see them on our website. You can see them in our deluxe brochure, or large, beautiful brochure. We just came out with a brand new brochure. But 4th of July, we're mounting the flag and pecan pie, and 50s and 60s, and bourbon and bluegrass, and Civil War cruises and fall colors, and life on the Mississippi, and Mark Twain and the antebellum South, and on and on, 18 of them. Even Christmas market cruises this December, which Wes will talk about later in the presentation. And old-fashioned holidays, door decorating, tree trimming, caroling, brass bands, Santa, Dickens, carolers, Papa Noel for Cajun Christmas, bonfires on the levee, which is a Cajun tradition. Really great, strong theming. And right here in America, you don't have to fly all the way to Europe when you have a wonderful knock-your-socks-off cruise experience like this with American Queen Steamboat Company. The furthest north we go is St. Paul, Minnesota on the Mississippi. I love the upper Mississippi. There are 26 locks and dams on the upper Mississippi, 4 times as many as the Panama Canal, which has only 6. So if you're headed southbound, you go into the lock chamber and they lower the vessel and you proceed through these beautiful big lakes on the upper Mississippi. One of them is Lake Pepin, Laura Ingalls Wilder. And, of course, St. Louis with the Gateway Arch, the gateway to the west. We go north and southbound both during the summer and for fall colors. Now, let's take a look at the American Empress and what she does. We operate the American Empress on the Columbia and Snake Rivers in the Pacific Northwest. If you're in the west, and I live in Orange County, California, it's only a 2-hour and 15-minute flight up to Portland. It's great. The American Empress is the largest overnight riverboat west of the Mississippi and holds 223 guests. Remember, the American Queen, there won't be a test, is 432. So this is half the size, but beautiful, elegant. And the Columbia has 8 locks and dams. If I had my druthers, I'd always go from the westbound. It just gets prettier and prettier, and you spend a lot of time in the Columbia River Gorge, but either way, it's beautiful. You start in Portland, and you end in Clarkston, and then we take you up to Spokane for the flight home. Or if you start in Spokane, wonderful historic hotel there, the Davenport Hotel. I did the pre-cruise tour and went to Gonzaga, where Bing Crosby went, and I get to see Bing's boyhood home. It's just wonderful. It's a wonderful city and a great drive down to Clarkston. And in either direction, we go out to the mouth of the river, to Astoria, to Fort Clatsop, where Lewis and Clark overnighted. And we do the jet boats on Hell's Canyon on both. Well, in the footsteps of the great explorers, okay, Meriwether Lewis and William Clark. The Louisiana Purchase was in 1803. Thomas Jefferson paid $15 million, or about 4 cents an acre. That was a steal for the Louisiana Territory. And he commissioned his friend, Meriwether Lewis, to lead an expedition, the first overland expedition to the Pacific coast, to see what they thought, to see if there was a water route to the west. Well, there really wasn't. They had to camp during the winters with the Indians. They had to get horses. They had to haul their canoes. But they proved that we want it all, and it laid claim to the west. In that amazing expedition, they started out with 33 tough frontiersmen across what is now the western U.S., and they only lost one man to acute appendicitis, which there was no way they could treat in those days, and basically they lived off the land. So you'll learn everything about Lewis and Clark on the Columbia River. Portland's Rose Test Garden with 8,000 roses, Bonneville Dam, the first dam east of Portland of the 8 locks and dams on the Columbia River, with a fish ladder. You can see the salmon actually through viewing windows, all the various types of salmon as they. And then the end of the Oregon Trail in the Dalles, which is a really interesting, cute town, and nature's bounty in the Walla Walla wine country, the Napa of the North, and Sacagawea State Park. It's fascinating. I love the Columbia River. 3 of our steam coaches, so to speak, and the wrap is 3-dimensional. It's actually just a bus wrap and fun. I took this with my phone that I'm talking on. It's amazing how good the pictures are you can take with your phone, and how pristine and clean. This is the pilot house, not the bridge, of the American Empress. Here's the dining room, the Astoria dining room, named after John Jacob Astor, who had the first fur trading post in Astoria, was named after him, and the Astoria column, mouth of the Columbia, on the Empress. This is our alternate dining venue. It's called the River Grill, and at night During the day, it's open seating in the River Grill and in the dining room. However, at night, you have to make reservations in this room. We put tablecloths down, and we will serve 50 people at a time, but no problem, and it's all included. And it's a wonderful grill, and we just want the service to be good and you to get a lot of attention. And you can dine inside or outside here as well. So we will limit the numbers each night, but everybody gets to go up there for dinner as often as they want, really 3 or 4 times if you want. It's in our showroom, okay, the show lounge, a lot smaller, but really fun and strong entertainment here, and also a 6-piece band. And then our late night room, the paddle wheel lounge with fabulous late night entertainment. It's very craftsman style, Pacific Northwest. This is where our River Lorian has his or her office and explains everything to people, what they're going to see and do, and also has presentations in our show lounge. And the bar in the paddle wheel lounge, we have an internet cafe on both of our vessels, both on the American Queen and the American Empress. So if you don't take a device with you, it's still free. You can still stay connected, and you can print out your boarding passes. And if you have any problem with that, we'll help you prior to your trip home. Here are some cabins on the American Empress. A Category A, 310 square feet. Every single cabin on the American Empress is a river view stateroom. They're all outside, and all but about 5 cabins have private balconies. Category A, and I skipped B. It's very much like this. This is our largest single category. This is what my wife and I ride in when we go. It's a Category C. It's 67% of the American Empress on the Columbia River. It's 180 square feet, and it comes either this way as a queen or this way as a twin, but that's also a Category C. And you have to specify to cruise experts which you want, and you'll get what you want. On the American Queen, the larger vessel, they're convertible. They can be queen or king by removing that nightstand table between the beds, but it's one way or the other on the American Empress. Our chief purser took this and sent it to me. It's in Astoria at the mouth of the Columbia. You can see one of the seagoing ships barely there way in the background. That's the old Columbia lightship. Now they use electronic devices. They don't have manned lightships, but off screen to your right at the foot of that rainbow, there's actually a double rainbow, is the Columbia River Maritime Museum. I love maritime museums and never pass them up. This is the Hood River Bridge, Mount Hood, okay, and the American Empress on the Columbia River. And our marketing swore to me that this has not been photoshopped or altered. That's a real picture, exactly the way it is. And Hood River, the town of Hood River and the Columbia River Gorge, is allegedly the windsurfing capital of America, or maybe it's the world. And it's truly an extraordinary American experience. This is the Columbia River Gorge. It's a scenic wonder. It's 80 miles long. We spend a lot of daytime hours and a little back and forth in the gorge because it is so gorgeous, no pun intended. And then we do the jet boats on Hell's Canyon as a premium shore excursion. I'll talk about those later. We have a few that we charge a little extra for, but you get a lot extra for your money, or you can do just the free hop-on, hop-off shore excursions. As I mentioned earlier, the American Queen is the largest steamboat ever built for cruising on inland rivers, and 432 guests. And on the American Queen, you can let the good times roll on the lower Mississippi and visit historic New Orleans, the French Quarter, 96 square blocks of fun and restaurants right along the river, romantic plantations like Oak Alley Plantation on the River Road, Civil War sites like the National Military Park in Vicksburg, the Gibraltar of the South, and gardens of the river, gardens at Natchez in Stanton Hall, Natchez, Mississippi, has over 500 antebellum structures. Buildings built prior to the Civil War, which was 1861 to 1865. The upper Mississippi is extremely scenic. It's green, it's winding, it's rural, it's remote. I love the bald eagles up in Red Wing, appropriately, Minnesota. And they have bald eagles, golden eagles, and there's also the rehab center where eagles cannot be released into the wild, so they just keep them there, and it's a beak-to-nose experience. I love that because when an eagle is right in front of you and they spread out the eagle's wings, my gosh, they're really, you don't realize how huge they are. Enchanting natural wonders along the rivers and historically rich cities like St. Louis with the Anheuser-Busch Brewery and the Clydesdales, and of course brilliant fall colors. We're on the upper Mississippi for fall colors and also in the summertime. I did a seminar for a group recently, and somebody said, well, what do you do when there's high water? And, you know, how do you get under the bridges? Well, very carefully. This is a low bridge. It's the Hannibal, Missouri Railroad Bridge on September 14 last year. We had 8 inches of clearance between the top of the pilot house, which retracts, and the pilots drive the boat via the controls on the bridge wings. And we just make a party of it. High water is more of a problem for us than low water because there have been situations where we've been stuck in a port longer than we'd like to be because we could not safely get under a bridge, but then we have our own buses, so you're not going to miss anything. I think European rivers have had a much worse time than we have, European riverboat companies. On the Ohio, Tennessee, and Cumberland rivers, you've got historical landmarks, Shiloh National Military Park on the Tennessee River. You've got historic cities like Cincinnati and Newport, Kentucky, and Louisville and Marietta, Ohio, the riverboat city, which I love, and Music City, Nashville on the Cumberland, home of Grand Ole Opry, the Ryman Auditorium. It's still there. And, of course, the lower right, Lookout Mountain overlooking Chattanooga on the Tennessee River. We do have 2 Civil War cruises with wonderful enrichment lecturers. The cabins on the American Queen is one with a private balcony, a AA, 190 square feet. Now they're in a Category A, 210 square feet, with a shared open veranda with furniture outside, double mahogany doors. Our guests are very social. You're going to meet your neighbors. Flat screen TVs, individual climate controls for the AC, telephone, of course, large bathrooms, Category E with a bay window. Remember why people go on river cruises? They go for scenery. Scenery, history, and lack of motion. You can sit right in that on that window seat and enjoy the scenery. And here is an inside stateroom. We have no inside staterooms on the American Empress. We do on the American Queen. We also have connecting rooms. But I'll never forget, not this last summer, but the summer before, I never went on with the company, and there was a nice couple across the hall, and they said, oh, would you like to see our cabin? They were in an inside, and my wife took a look, and she said, I think it might be bigger than our outside cabin. They're roomy. The bathrooms are comfortable and roomy. They're extremely well appointed. And, you know, don't not go if you're on a more modest budget, because how much time do you spend in your cabin anyway? And there's so much to do. Oh, premium shore excursions, for example, fun for kids of all ages. We did this zip lining in Astoria at the mouth of the river. Really fun. I've never done it before. I think on the first there were about 6 or 8 lines, and they get progressively steeper and higher. I thought I was going to die. By the end, I didn't want to stop. And you'll see children and parents and grandparents doing it. It's really fun. It's really safe. We've picked a wonderful zip line company to work with. Lovely night shot of the American Queen. I'll always ask, hey, hi, does the boat tie up at night? No, we cruise right along. We got a lot of river to travel, and to get to the next port, we're always cruising at night, and we stop for shore excursions during the day. Another really terrific shore excursion was this, the Field of Dreams in Dyersville, Iowa, out of Dubuque, and go to the National Farm Toy Museum, but the real high point of the trip is the Field of Dreams diamond. It's still there. In '89, the film was released with Kevin Costner and Amy Madigan. He hasn't been back there since they filmed it, and however, it's a huge tourist attraction because the Chicago Black Sox Ghost players come out of the corn and talk about they were extras during the film, and they've made a living for their lifetime traveling the world talking about the film Field of Dreams. And every time I can see it on late night TV or wherever, I love to watch it. It's a fun, terrific fantasy film. And I mentioned the Memphis post or pre. I said, I think it's $79 with Memphis through the eyes of the king himself. Our godmother who rechristened the American Queen was Priscilla Presley, the real McCoy, and we are the real McCoy. Okay. We have an early booking program for individuals that's just been announced for 2016 on select cruises, valid on new paid and full bookings only, subject to cabin availability, requiring full payment at the time of booking, but you can save $400 per person. And I'll ask you to check with your Cruise Experts expert for all details. Now, I know in a minute, Wes, I'm going to ask you to talk about our Christmas offer, but I wanted to mention this too. I believe you have some clients that might come to you for their individual cruise and tour vacations, but they may not realize that a good part of your business, and mine as well, is groups. And ladies and gentlemen, a group is only 10 people, 5 couples. It can be a family group, it can be a church club, an organization, a retirement club, friends, neighbors, square dancers, I've had tap dancers, you name it. Performance groups get to perform too during the day, during the afternoon when other stuff isn't going on. High school and college reunions, family reunions, the Elks, the Moose, the Shrine. There are more group ideas and types of groups than there are stars in the sky. Only 10 people. And that Carmel Rotary Club picture, it's a 10-speed bike. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, I want to make sure nobody got off since the last time I saw that picture. But Wes, can you talk for a second about the holiday offer? Do you have it handy?
I do. Hi, thank you. And you know, we actually specialize in groups and work with groups from all over the U.S., as well as every customer for us is just an individual customer that we want to know needs and expectations and make sure that we make your trip special for you. Some of the offers that are available this year at the end of the year are extraordinary because you can save about 30% on your holiday cruise. And there's several dates. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, we can email this to you after we've completed the webinar this afternoon. But for instance, New Orleans to Memphis on November 28th, Christmas markets, or December 12th, the same Christmas markets, New Orleans to Memphis. Also operates December 19th. You can do a New Year's celebration cruise on December 26th, which is round trip from New Orleans. It's usually still very pleasant in that part of the country, and it's not steamy hot like sometimes in the summer. All of these are extraordinary bargains. You can save up to $2,800 per stateroom. Starts at $1,889 per person for all of these dates, and so we'd be happy to send that information to you if you want to consider an end-of-the-year getaway down into the wonderful southern part of our beautiful United States.
Thank you, Wes, and thank you for sending it out. So, to conclude, American Queen Steamboat Company has two vessels, the American Empress and the American Queen. The American Empress this year, right now, has 20 sailings in a row, totally sold out, every bed, every cabin. And we've had to extend the season by a couple of weeks into November, and we're coming out earlier than normal by a couple of weeks in the spring of next year, because doing so well. And the vessels we've put $12 million in renovations recently into the American Queen, and about 5 or 6 in the American Empress. It's a wonderful experience. In fact, don't think of it as a cruise. If I use the word cruise anywhere here during this presentation, please forgive me. We're not a cruise, okay? We're a historic experience where history unfolds around every bend of the river. You're discovering Mark Twain's America at 7 miles an hour on a paddle wheel-powered time machine. That's really what we're all about. And at the conclusion, at the captain's farewell cocktail reception on the American Queen, and this is more traditional, we do it on the American Queen, the captain stands up in front of everyone, and I'll stand up here at my desk in front of all of you and do it. And our farewell toast is as follows. Here's Paul, and we want you to know that our sentiments are honest and real. May your days be as bright, your hearts be as light as the spray from our old paddle wheel. So much, ladies and gentlemen. Please do contact the cruise expert. S is wonderful to deal with. He's our #1 seller of our river cruises in the entire Central Valley of California. And I was there recently. I think I picked the wrong day. It was 107 that day, but it was just a pleasure meeting with Wes Rowland and all of his very experienced, very professional travel agents. So you're certainly in good hands with Cruise Experts. And let's open it up to some questions if you want to read them, and Wes will answer some, I'll answer some.
Okay, this is Julie here. I have the first question from Jim. He wants to know if the staterooms are air-conditioned and if each room has cable TV throughout the cruise.
Yes, good question, Jim. Yes, we have central air throughout the vessels, both vessels, with individual climate controls in the cabins for both heating and air conditioning. And you can make ice if you want to in the cabins. And we have I guess you wouldn't call it cable. It'd have to be an awful long cable. But we have 22 channels on the American Queen, about half that on the American Empress, but we're getting more and getting more bandwidth for our Wi-Fi and everything else. But I know that on the American Queen, my wife loves like the Discovery Channel, the History Channel, Food TV, and we were able to watch all of it, and all the network stuff, plus stuff on shore excursions, you name it. So the answer is yes to both. okay? And you can see what the shore excursions will encompass, both the hop-on, hop-off, and others. And eventually it'll be fully interactive, and you can reserve things and see the menus, etc.
Great. Okay.
Sorry to
Thank you. Hi.
long-winded answer, but
Okay, we have another question from Sherry. Sherry wants to know if the stateroom bathrooms have bathtubs.
yes, some do, and some don't. The majority do, and some just have stall showers. It depends. On the American Queen, you get a mix, and your agent will check with our agent in our res, and whatever the client prefers, we'll get them. On the other hand, on the American Empress, it's 100% stall showers with grab rails and so on. Okay.
Okay. I don't see any other questions. Hi. If real quickly, if somebody has a question, please type it in. Otherwise, if you do have questions, you can get check back with your agent here at Cruise Experts. Wes?
Thank you, Julie. Thank you. Hi. Ladies and gentlemen, it's just really been a pleasure to have you with us today. I know that every time I do a webinar or seminar with his enthusiasm is infectious, and I want to go right away. I grew up on the Ohio River, and as a child we used to go down to the river and we could wave to the Delta Queen, hear the Calliope playing. So I can tell you, if you're considering not a cruise, but a historic experience through the heart of America, or on the Columbia River in the Pacific Northwest, where I've just been in the last year on the American Empress, it's a fantastic experience. High quality, wonderful, relaxing way to see this beautiful United States. We would love to work with you, and if you will consider giving us a call here at the Cruise Experts, we would be delighted to match you up with one of our travel consultants who will make sure that they work hard to understand your needs, your expectations. We want to earn your business and your trust. Just give us a call. It's 800-625-5139. Again, it's 800-625-5139 from anywhere across the U.S. or Canada. We're here Monday through Saturday, and we would love to work with you. If you would like to share this webinar with friends or family, it will be available online later, and you can send an email to Julie, who is the moderator, the panelist, organizer, and she can send that to you. We want to thank you once again for joining us and remind you that when you book an American Queen Steamboat Company cruise or experience with us over the next 2 weeks, you'll also receive $100 bonus onboard credit from the Cruise Experts. Any questions, please give us a call. Hi, thank you once again for joining us this afternoon, and Julie for organizing. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us. We hope to be in touch with you again soon. Bye-bye now.